To truthfully gauge how many books Osborne has read, she has a bookshelf in her house of how many books she has read this year alone.
With the MLB changing their jerseys, it has changed the entire landscape on how jerseys will be produced by all sports in the next coming years. WSU Athletics has officially moved the verification process of getting students into games. So instead of using your Cougar card, you'll now have to use your cellular device to get into these games. After spending almost an entire summer getting this road right the first time, the City Council decided late September that they would repave the road because the road did not pass the crash and impact test. Not only does the Evergreen need to find a new editor-in-chief, they also need to find a new managing editor to go along with the editor-in-chief.
After a disappointing 2023 season for the Seattle Mariners that had so much expectation, the club looks to bounce back in the 2024 season.
With the upcoming season, many Mariner players have goals for themselves to get ready for the upcoming season.
The Mariners got to work in the offseason as they made free agency signings. One of the signings included Mitch Garver. He hopes to bring a championship-winning mentality to a young team after he won a World Series title in Texas.
Yeah, it's a whole different ballgame when you get to the playoffs. I want these guys to know that the early games in April and May matter just as much as the games in September. And that's something that championship teams do. They put an emphasis on winning games early in the year and getting off to a good start. Puts you in a position halfway through the year to acquire new talent if you need it.
For current players, last year is in the past, and they have hopes for this season. Starting pitcher Bryce Miller is ready to elevate his game to the next level with a new pitch.
So I kind of started trickling it in this offseason, just throwing a couple each day, playing with different grips, and I ended up with this grip after 2 months of playing around. But it's come a long ways. I really like where it's at. I think it's going to be a big pitch for me.
For the Mariners team as a whole, the goal will be to do something they have not done since 2001.
But for the team, I mean, we have expectations of winning the division. And I think we have the talent to do it. We have the young talent, brought in some veterans, a little bit of playoff experience. So we have a good blend right now. And I think the whole goal is getting off to a good start.
With just as much expectation as last year, the Mariners will look for their first ever World Championship. I'm Gunner Scott Miller reporting from Scottsdale, Arizona.
When you look at the Murrow Advising Center, you may just see students working. But if you look close enough, you will always see Alexandria Osborne reading a book.
Every time I see her on campus, she's always carrying a book or reading.
Osborne prides herself in how many books she has read, but the total number of books this year alone could have some people in shock.
I just finished my 66th book last night.
To truthfully gauge how many books Osborne has read, she has a bookshelf in her house of how many books she has read this year alone.
For Osborne, reading has become a hobby, so much of a hobby that finishing a book will be her #1 priority. You could even ask her friends.
A specific example of when Alex went out of her way to read was we want to go see the new Hunger Games movie, but she never read the book. I never read the book, but I was just like, I just want to go see the movie because I watched the movies. But she specifically was like, no, we have to wait to watch the movie because I need to finish the book first.
From a viewer's perspective, people could believe Osborne may view reading strictly as a hobby, but to her it's much more deeper and more personal than that.
So it definitely helped a lot in the sense of like I can't, like if I start to overwhelm myself in certain situations, I can just read a book and then I'm not overwhelmed anymore, which kind of helped a lot.
For Alex, she believes that everyone should get into reading and no one should hold themselves to one specific reason to do so.
There are so many different genres of books, and so it's just like you can explore multiple different things. I've read a few like research books which have really opened my eyes to just like different topics that I wouldn't have thought about before.
Osborne's book total and reading experience will only continue to grow for a long time to come. I'm Gunner Scott Miller, Murrow, News 8.